Steck, can you hear me?
Yes. Loud and clear.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Mrs. Barwick, it's 5:30. All board members are present and Dr. Durant is present. And so, and myself, you may proceed.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Good evening. Welcome to the Toledo Public Schools Board of Education regular board meeting for Tuesday, January 26, 2021. Mr. Schulte, will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mrs. Barwick,
Present.
Miss Barnes,
Present.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Here.
Mr. Vasquez,
Here.
Mrs. Gherkin. So next up on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and tonight we have the Wait American Sign Language students via video are doing the pledge in sign language, and they also are doing a thank you to the Board of Education for School Board Appreciation Month. So here, I'll start the video.
Wonderful. Okay, well, that was hands down the best Pledge of Allegiance we've had. So that was wonderful. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Dr. Durant?
I'm gonna have to get that TPS proud sign language down pat for myself, but
Right.
we're gonna move into a serious note. May we ask that each of us have a moment of silence in honor of our fallen heroes of the Toledo police officer as well as firefighters. We had Toledo police officer Brandon Stalker, firefighters with Steve Machcinski, along with Jamie Dickman. May we please have a moment of silence at this time. Thank you. And our hearts go out to their families. Again, we'll keep them in our prayers and appreciate everyone to give that moment of silence. With that said, we're going to move right into the mission and vision. Toledo Public Schools' mission is to produce competitive college and career-ready graduates through rigorous curriculum across all grade levels by implementing Ohio New Learning Standards with fidelity. Our vision statement is to strive to be an A-rated school district whose graduates are college and career-ready. Thank you.
All right, and I think that takes us into section 2, and that is presentations. I'll turn it back over to you, Dr. Durant.
Yes, I would turn this over to Ms. Patty Mazer.
Good evening, everyone, and school board members. I hope you all have your gifts, your gift bags nearby. And I hope you all kept your promise of not peeking.
On my honor.
Okay, Ms. Barnes, I hope your little one was able to help you keep your promise. With us being in a virtual meeting setting, we had a challenge in how to show our appreciation to the Board of Education. So let's start with some cards and some notes, and then at the end, you will see a video, and from there, then we will go into your gifts. So Mr. Steck-Schulte, if you would please, thank you. This first part is courtesy of our teachers over at Burroughs Elementary, 7th and 8th grade students. And they all put their own slide presentation together, each page. Steck, if you want to move on. And then as we get a little farther in, you will see some notes, some very sweet notes here from Michaela Holmes. But this one I would love to read. So only from a 7th or 8th grade boy would this come from. And this it made me chuckle. This is from a young man named Tyler. The Board of Education, we appreciate you. Yes, even more than poo on a shoe. It might seem gross, but always know we get our education from you the most. Without you, we'd be mindless zombies. You've introduced us to so many hobbies. We'll never forget the life you've granted us to, because Board appreciate you. Yeah. So Steck, if you want to move on. The next one is from a young lady named Taylor. She went the photo collage route. Thank you. And then just such cute things. And when you ask schools for help, you get amazing creativity, and I just was so tickled with everything that came in. And the fact that some of them talk about the pandemic and allowing kids to keep learning during COVID-19, and you can tell these are all heartfelt wishes, and it's really great. And I think the kids understand the work that you all do. And I'm happy to share all of this with you all so you have time to review it. So then we had some submissions from students at the virtual academy. I love the toes in this one to the left. And some artwork from our friends over at Reynolds Elementary. But now here's the big shout out. This goes to my friend, the Mrs. Dreyer and the amazing staff over at Old Orchard. Steck, if you would, please.
Says the record not valid.
Oh, no.
Hang on.
Oh, no.
Give me a second. Let's try a different route.
All right. I will totally blame operator error in this deck. Well, and I know that Mrs. Dreyer was going to try to jump on tonight while Mr. Steck Schulte sees about the video. So if you now pick up your gift bags, again, the creative folks, yes, from Old Orchard. Not only did they supply the video, but they also supplied the gifts that came to each of the board members. Mrs. Jordan and I delivered those last week. And then the saying on the cup talks about success starts with you, success starts here, and it is the longitude and the latitude of the Board of Education. So many thanks to Mrs. Dreyer and her staff for that.
Okay, I love that. Love, 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 love all of it. Love. Thank you so much. So appreciative.
And I'm disappointed about the video, but I will again make sure that we will certainly share it on our social page, on our website, and I will make sure that the board receives both videos and the PowerPoint presentation because I was just thrilled, like I said, with all the submissions. So good stuff there.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So our next presentation is, oh, I'm sorry. Our next presentation comes from our friends from the TPS Foundation. Ashley Yoakum is here, and she is going to talk about the current presentation of the Creative Impact Grants to teachers across the district.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on. Again, I'm Ashley Yoakum with the TPS Foundation, the Program and Grants Coordinator. We have our application for Creative Impact Grants for our teachers and staff throughout the district opens in August. I believe it closed in October of this year, and then we go through a review process. We have a select few that review all of the grants, and then we take the grants to the district, review and make sure that they're in line with curriculum. And now we're awarding those grants. So we're really excited. We have 11 total. We have 8 individuals here with us today. So if we want to get started, we can start presenting this. And each teacher is going to come on, just talk about their grant for a second, and then move on. And I just want to reiterate that we will be sharing all of this on our social media. And hopefully, once everyone's back in the classroom, we'll be able to do our awesome check presentation and actually see the grants in action. They have some great things that they're bringing into the classroom, so we're really excited about it. Is Ms. Burns on?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Ms. Burns, would you like to give a quick overview of what you intend to do with the funds from the grant?
Yes. Thank you to the foundation, and thank you all for having me on today. I'm really excited about this. I will be purchasing items for a business and personal finance laboratory. And the objective is to give students a real world experience in the classroom. Just as a student would have hands-on training in an automobile or collision repair course, I believe that students in the business world should have that lab atmosphere as well. So it is comprised of a curriculum, games, and there'll be different areas of business, such as stock markets, investments, and hopefully there's also a course for like a whole introductory course for starting stocks and getting into the stock exchange. So I would really love one day to be able to open that up to the community. And this is phase 1, and phase 2 would be to get actual tickers around the school.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Laura?
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me join your board meeting, and thank you so much to the TPS Foundation for this award. I am really, really excited about this. Hi, I am Laura Kubiak, and I am an instructor at the Aerospace and Natural Science Academy of Toledo. I teach a very exciting program called Wildlife and Sustainability. It's one of our career tech programs. And this grant is focused on inspiring students to learn and be excited about marine biology. So in my program, Wildlife and Sustainability, we study fish, wildlife, and their habitats. We explore how to keep ecosystems healthy and how to monitor soil, air, and water quality. And this grant is perfectly aligned with my program's mission. So for starters, the first tenant, technology, our principal, Mr. Hunter, has really been encouraging us to add technology into our programs, and now more than ever in the virtual setting. And you can see I've already started it with a 500-gallon reef tank. And we've been already giving virtual tours of our facility as we recruit for our school to many of our 8th graders around the district. And we've been doing that just with a webcam. But this grant will allow me to have a fish cam and underwater GoPros and other underwater cameras so that we can live stream and show time-lapse video of the marine life. And that will be great for remote learning and advertising the great things that are happening in TPS, and also allow students to collect data for their own inquiry and research projects. This grant will also allow us to have water testing equipment and purchase additional life, like maybe some small sharks and rays and schooling fish. And then once students have gotten attached to these concepts of marine biology, we can also apply the technology and the research equipment to engage interest in studying other ecosystems, like our freshwater systems in our lab and also in the wild. So thank you so much, TPS Foundation, for this opportunity. We're really excited.
Thank you so much. Mr. Burns?
All right. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for having us on here. My name is Dan Burns, Rosa Parks Elementary music teacher. Not to be confused with the first lady that spoke. Different spelling of our last name, so no relation. Thank you for having us. This is my first year at Rosa Parks, and I was at other schools for 4 years, 5th year total. But when I got to the school, we did a introduction slide. Now, with being music, so I had the 6th to 8th graders. And I had an introductory slide, I asked them to fill it out so I get to know them a little bit. But one thing I asked was what instruments they like to learn. And one big one that seemed to be coming around was piano. They wanted to learn how to play piano. Now there's some larger pianos there at the school, the main piano and some large keyboards. But I was thinking, what about having some smaller keyboards available for students, be able to teach them the basics with music literacy, as well as basic music skills pertaining to those keyboards. So that's why I decided to try to get this grant. So thank you to TPS Foundation for having this opportunity. I want to help our students learn more about music, get excited about it. And it seems like a lot of them really wanted to learn about piano. So I thought this was a good opportunity to have them utilize their senses of sight, hearing, and touch, develop their understanding of music at a comfortable pace. We'll go at their pace, have like assessments done beginning of the year, and hopefully figure out what will work for them, and then start an assessment, and then help them out throughout the year, and then end with another assessment. And see how far they've gone. So music appreciation, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to have this at the school.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan.
My pleasure.
Ms. Poland?
All right. Hi, everybody. Good to see everybody this evening. Thank you for having all of us here. We definitely appreciate the support in our classrooms. My name is Amy Poland. I'm a teacher, a 6th grade teacher at Marshall STEM Academy. And my 6th graders start the school year harvesting their own seeds out of food that they're eating at their own house and trying to grow that seed into a plant. So right now, my students are now in their 2nd cycle of harvesting a seed, observing what's happening during that growing process, and then restarting that cycle again and trying to grow a bigger, healthier plant. So our goal is, quarter 1 and quarter 2, those PBLs were very teacher driven, very teacher led. I gave them a directive, I gave them a problem, and the students did their best to try to follow my directions and work through the design process to solve that problem. But what we're trying to look to get to the students, or to get the students to do, is to, by 3rd and 4th quarter, begin generating their own questions that they might want to solve. So last year, when I was sitting with my students, we did a PBL question generating session with the students. And one question that the students kept coming back to was the idea of this smoothie bike that they had now seen a couple years after taking trips to the BGSU STEM in the Park day, which if you have not gone to that, please go to it. It is a great day. It's a great opportunity to take our students to and get some hands-on science learning. So the smoothie bike is always the big hit at the BGSU STEM in the Park. And it's always the story or the thing that the kids are talking about when we get back to the classroom. So we decided to try to write a grant and get our own money to bring our own smoothie bike to Marshall. So our goal for this year is to start getting some student-driven questions generating surrounding this very cool smoothie bike. And partnered with it, we have produce growing buckets where the students will be able to grow produce. So grow kale, grow lettuce, and put it into the smoothies that they're then using the bike to make. So thank you for the opportunity to be able to bring this idea to life. I very much appreciate it, and I can't wait to see the students loving it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Hall?
Ms. Hall, you need to unmute.
Is she still on?
Do not.
It looks like she's on, but she's not connected to audio. Like it's not showing that it's muted, and it doesn't show that she even has a camera. So it might be, maybe she could dip out and dip back in and connect. You see how she doesn't have a microphone that's crossed out, Mr. Steckschulte?
Lost her name for a second.
I can give a brief overview unless she jumps back in. She's from Glendale Fieldback Elementary and working with students with multiple disabilities and or autism. We had a similar grant last year, but we feel that this is a need across the district So she requested some items to be used in her classroom to better assist the students and help them learn different skills. And so we're very excited, especially to see this one back in the classroom when everyone's back and we can revisit that. We can always jump back though when she's back and she can give a much better definition and description than I can.
Hey, I'm Cindy Machcinski. I teach at McKinley STEM Academy, and I'm just really happy to be here tonight. The presentations that have already gone before me, I'm really impressed with. I want to, have some feedback on those. I want to follow up on those and see how they go. But my project is to use plant propagation as a way to bring two buddy classes together. So I teach 7th grade, and my class has a 1st grade buddy class. And they're going to mentor the 1st graders throughout this entire project. And we're calling this project What's Growing On. So the younger kids, they're going to learn about the needs of living things. And then the older students are going to focus, they're going to model processes of photosynthesis and cellular respiration and asexual and sexual reproduction in plants. Both classes together are going to learn different plant propagation techniques. So as they're doing that, the student teams will design a science fair style presentation. They're going to have an inquiry question of their choice related to plant propagation. So a 7th grader and a 1st grader buddy will work together on that presentation. And then for the final public product, our students are going to have their presentation boards displayed, and all classes in the school will come through and view the displays and ask questions. So our students will share what they learned about just gardening in general and share the health benefits and the social emotional skills that we're going to focus on that go into being an urban gardener. At the end of this whole entire project, every student at McKinley STEM Academy will get to choose one of the new plants that we have grown, and they will take it home to start their own hobby of raising houseplants. So I just really appreciate this opportunity with this Creative Impact Grant. So, designing a PBL unit for 2 buddy classes takes some unique resources, not something I would typically have access to. So this grant is going to allow us to make these purchases. And we're just hoping this project will inspire all students at McKinley STEM Academy, and they can start a new hobby and they can be thinking about all the science involved as they're caring for their new plants for years to come. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Awesome, thank you. Ms. Hereford?
Hello, everyone. And thank you also for having me tonight. So appreciative to all of you for considering our program. I teach at Rogers High School, visual communication design, so it's a 2-year program in career technology. And I'm always looking for ways to promote our program and also to get the kids out working and engaging in experiential learning. So this grant is going to allow us to buy some new technology that will allow us to improve the professionalism of our edited videos. In the past, we've worked with SSOE, Cancer Connection, and even TPS Foundation. We're able to bring in people to interview them, and then the students can edit the videos. And the exciting thing is that then these companies are willing to post the videos into their online social media platforms, which is another opportunity for my kids to get experience and also promote our program. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
You're not even going to attempt my name. That's okay. I'm Christy Lubieski. I'm from Marshall STEM Academy. I teach 7th and 8th grade math at Marshall. My students have been learning about manufacturing. We've been doing a lot of, our theme is manufacturing and building things in the math classroom. We recently did a project with Yarder Manufacturing where we designed our own dividers. They're COVID friendly and they can be cleaned, and they're dividers to put between our desks. So one of the things that I was looking for here was having my students manufacture more models. So my project is about creating the Pythagorean theorem proof models. So this project would allow the students to put together a model that will show that the squares of 2 legs, the sum of the square of 2 legs is equal to the sum of the larger and longer leg of a right triangle. So the idea is to get the kids to manufacture this and create this so that they can have a visual of how to prove the Pythagorean theorem. It's always a really difficult topic and concept for my kids to understand. So I was hoping to use this as a way for them to physically see it, to watch it, to create a model so that they know exactly what they did and why it is, why it works the way it does. And then they keep them. So it kind of gives them that whole fidget spinner. I can turn it around. I can fill the sides to prove my theorem. And I appreciate this grant because without it, I wouldn't be able to do it. And I'm really hoping that the kids understand that whole designing and manufacturing aspect, and then it continues with the theme that I have for this year. So thank you. I appreciate it. I'm really excited.
Thank you. The rest of the individuals were not able to join us tonight. Rachel's from Oakdale Elementary. She is creating a Viking sensory path that is Oakdale themed. So we're very excited to see this grant once it's installed. It'll be great for the students to enjoy a little brain break, as they like to call them. Next slide. Scott is purchasing a 3D printer for science. At the high school level, he is at START. So we're excited to see the items that his students will be able to create and use in the future. And Natalie Cook with Anstat with her bat backpacks. This is one that we're excited about them all, but excited about this one as well to collect data with her bat backpacks out at Anstat. So we'll be excited to report back on all of the grants. Again, we'll be posting these on social media. So please follow us and like us and check back for more updates. Thank you so much again for having us on. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ashley. We really appreciate it. And thank you to all of the teachers. My goodness, it's so inspirational to see that and makes me proud to be part of the foundation for sure.
Thank you. All
right, Ms. Mazer, do we have additional?
Madam President, Stephanie has her hand up.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I couldn't see.
I just wanted to take a moment to say how fun that is to look at all the unique ideas that our teachers have and express my gratitude both to the foundation and to the teachers for thinking of creative solutions that help in their classroom. You know, it's just a huge testament to the quality of the instruction that we provide. Thank you.
Okay, I do have one bit of good news to add to tonight's presentation. We just learned this yesterday that Cassandra McPherson, a paraprofessional, has been submitted as a nominee by Governor DeWine and State Superintendent DeMaria for the first annual RISE Award, which is Recognizing Inspirational School Employees Award. This is a national award that has come forward this year due to the pandemic. And part of the nomination that was submitted on her behalf by Melissa Cooper from the Ohio Federation of Teachers said that it is because she is flexible and dependable, ready to take on any task. So we are excited for that announcement, and we will certainly continue to watch and see how Ms. McPherson proceeds through this award process. And then finally, we have three retirees for the evening to congratulate. Diana Burr, she is a campus protection officer, and she's retiring with 25 years and 3 months of service. Paula Foster, she is a secretary, and she is retiring with 25 years and 4 months of service. And Terry L. Slother is currently a music teacher at Larchmont with 28 years of service, and that is a total of 78 years of service. So we congratulate them all and wish them well in their retirement.
All right, thank you so much for all of that. Dr. Duran, anything else on that section?
This would conclude the presentation portion of the section. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll move on to section 3, which is community comments. And I don't believe we have any for this evening. Section 4 is our organizational input.
Excuse me, Madam President, I believe Mr. Ramirez is on the call.
Okay, wonderful. I was just going to ask if there was someone from TAAP here on the call.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got ahead of you.
That's okay. No, you're fine. Mr. Ramirez?
Thank you, and Happy New Year. I know that seems like a long time, but this is our first regular board meeting in January, so I do want to wish everybody Happy New Year. I do want to congratulate you as board members recognition, and I want to assure you that you're better than poo on a shoe. Okay, poo on a shoe is down here, you guys are way up here, so I do appreciate that. I know you have some MOUs before you today to consider, and appreciate your passage of those MOUs or the TAAP MOU. But I want to wish everybody a good year through this pandemic. We can't believe it's still hanging here with us, but we are still out there. We are still working. Just want to let you know that from the TAAP folks, and appreciate the board members and new community assignments. So I'm happy working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. Thank you. Anyone from TFT here, please?
I do not see anyone.
Okay. And anyone from AFSCME?
I do not see anyone on the list either.
All right. So we'll move on to section 5, comments by the board. And you know what, we'll start with Mr. Vasquez, only because I can't see who has their hand up or who doesn't. So I'll just go down the list. Mr. Vasquez?
Mr. Sexualty, I think Mr. Vasquez may have been unintentionally demoted from being able to present.
Oh, yep, he should be back over now.
Thank you, Mrs. Eichenberg, or intentional. I'm really sure. But in any case, that's all right. I just want to congratulate all of the grant awardees. I think that those are very, very interesting projects. I was trying to figure out some of them myself, let alone the students. The other thing I want to do is I want to thank everybody for their appreciation. There's nothing that's as important as getting recognition from our students. I just love that. It really gets to my heart when we get recognition from the students. So thank you very much.
I think I read your lips, Madam President. Is that me? Okay. So first I want to try. I'm not great in ASL, but I want to say thank you to the students for signing the Pledge of Allegiance and ASL. Amazing job. And then next, thank you for the love, the teachers and students for, for the recognition of this month for the board members. And also on the ending note, 'cause I won't take too much time, in the light of all this heaviness that we are seeing in Toledo and trying to navigate through, especially the last 2 weeks, I do want to take a moment to bring mental health awareness to the topic, or bring the topic of mental health awareness. I know a lot of folks are really struggling right now during the pandemic, no matter who you are, if you're watching, listening, it's a very tough time right now. So I want you to know that you're not alone, but also if you feel like you are alone, you can either text 741-741, or you can call the Mental Health and Recovery Services at 419-255-3125. And if those two are not an option, you always call United Way to ask for nearby services. So please take care of yourself, check in on loved ones during this time.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. I apologize, I had myself muted. Ms. Eichenberg.
Thank you. I jumped in and took a shot at thanking all of our teacher grant recipients from the foundation and the foundation before they all jumped off the lines. But I do want to reiterate that it's just amazing to see the things that people think of. And I want to give a shout out to my colleague, Ms. Barnes. The sign language, I'm awesome. So I obviously, this is something I need to learn. And I didn't understand, I know it's important, but I really didn't understand the importance of it until this year when we've seen all of these updates through the pandemic, where we're trying to be so careful to make sure all of our most vulnerable populations are included. And that includes people who depend on others to know American Sign Language. So that's on my bucket list. And I was really impressed by that. So love it. And also providing that, real direct information about mental health awareness. One of the things that I learned in one of the meetings I was in this past week for school board, and it, made me, it didn't surprise me, but it made me a little bit sad, is that in our health centers, the number one reason that our students come down to the health centers that we have is some form of depression. And it's a tough time to be a teen. I have 2 of them in my house. I don't think social media helps. I don't think phones help. And I think that it's almost impossible to escape those things if you are that age. And I just want to reiterate, whether you're adult or a student, there are resources out there. And thank you, Ms. Barnes, for providing such direct, opportunities for people to take advantage of. And also know if you're know a student who needs help. Our health centers are still open to them in a way that they can connect with them. We'll make sure that happens. So that's not a light thing. And and I live in a household where we've had to go through our own mental health journeys, and it's been tough. And a shout out to all the parents, and also to the the administrators and the teachers and the building staff that have helped to support our students through those things, because it is not easy. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Polly Taylor Grookin.
Excuse me. Thank you. I really enjoyed the presentations. It's always such a treat to see our teachers show us their passion for their job and to take that extra step to seek funding for special projects. And of course, thanking the community, or our foundation for making those grants. Thing that I noticed was that, if I'm not mistaken, a majority of those grants were related to project-based learning opportunities. One of my very favorite topics is chair of the curriculum committee these past 7 years. 2 things come to mind from that. One is that we need more project-based learning. Absolutely need more project-based learning. It's just the thing to do. It's going to be what sees us through in this next phase of what public education should be. And also brings to mind, if we are going to have more and more project-based learning, including things like all of the great STEM programs that we have, probably going to have to pay a little more attention to funding those sorts of things, so that when we need those kinds of projects, that we're not completely relying on donated funds through a foundation for those things. So I think it's a great start, and it's a great way to bring attention to how important project-based learning is. But I also think that we're going to have to prioritize some funding in order to make it even more widespread in our district. We've all been doing the best we can with the pandemic. I am looking forward to the rollout of the vaccinations, and I would take this opportunity. Well, I've had the 2 81-year-olds in my family got their first vaccination. It went very smoothly. We were happy that their second vaccination is already reserved for them in another 18 days or so. And I'm just going to take this moment right now to encourage all of our school folks who are going to have access to this vaccination in the very next round. or the next round, I guess, to take advantage of that, get in the queue, get your vaccinations. It's not too many states, from what I can tell, that they have prioritized educators to the top of the list the way they have here. And saying that folks are going to take advantage of that opportunity and get that vaccination as soon as you possibly can, would be my word of advice to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. And I don't know how I can top all that my colleagues have shared tonight. I will say that I thought I was going to be rocking it with a thank you to the ASL group over at Wait, but obviously Ms. Barnes is showing me up. I will say we do a little bit of ASL in my daughter's home with the kids, so I know they eat, and the kids do too. So I want to thank the Wait as ASL Club and the staff there. That was really amazing to see that, and I certainly hope we are going to be doing more of that each month at board meetings. At the end of the day, it's about student-centered decisions, and they're certainly at the top of the list there. I also would like to take a moment to thank all of the teachers that came tonight to present from their grants that they received from the foundation. Being a part of the foundation is certainly gives me a different perspective on some of the grants behind the scenes, but I'll tell you, I am excited about the opportunities that we're going to have available for our staff down the road. So thank you for coming out tonight and presenting. You are a testament to what our district is about, and you're why we are TPS proud. So thank you very much for coming out tonight. And then, and of course, Ashley with the foundation, thank you. You know, you're such a cheerleader for it, and I so applaud that. Thank you for being so positive and sharing these great grants with the board tonight. I would also like to take a moment to just to say thank you to all of our staff out there. I know that this school year has been extremely trying. I don't even think there's a comparison to it ever. But I will say that we can get through this together. I know it's tough. I have educators in my family, so I get it. And but we can do this together. And families out there, hang on. We're getting through this. And students, we appreciate you. We know it's tough. Remote learning is not, all it's cracked out to be, right? We certainly would like to see students in classrooms. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right. So with that, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. That's section 6. Agenda items 6.01 through 6.36 are the consent agenda items. Board members may request to pull an item from the consent and move into the discussion section of the agenda. Item 6.01 to 6.09, Human Resources, Staff Development and Training Committee. The chair is Polly Taylor Gherkin, co-chair Stephanie Eichenberg. Item 6.10 to 6.15, Finance and Business Committee, Business Operation Committee, I apologize. Chairs Bob Vasquez, co-chair Chris Farwig. Item 6.16, our new committee, Technology Improvements and Process. And there's no action items this month, but the chair is Stephanie Eichenberg and co-chair is Polly Taylor Gherkin. Item 6.17 to 6.22, Board Curriculum, Instruction and Academic Excellence. Chair is Polly Taylor Gherkin and co-chair is Chris Farwig. Item 6.23 to 6.28 is Policy Committee. Chair is Sheena Barnes, co-chair is Bob Vasquez. Item 6.29 is our Arts, Athletics, and Student Activities Committee. There are no action items this month. Chair is Stephanie Eichenberg, co-chair is Chris Farwig. Item 6.30 and 6.31 is our Family Community Engagement Committee. Chair Bob Vasquez, co-chair Sheena Barnes. Item 6.32 to 6.3, the approval of the board meeting minutes, excuse me. I'd like to get a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, please.
Yes, Ms. Eichenberg.
I just wanted to really comment on some of the content here. You know, these things that we're voting on in the consent agenda are the output of our public meetings that we have, our committee meetings, and the result of a lot of hard work, both on our part, on the part of all the staff and all the different people who participate. And tonight, we do have a couple of items that are important to our staff, and I'm voting yes on them because it's the right thing to do for our employees involved. But I also want to note, when we think about the fact that we, take action and we work together and we collaborate to move the district forward, I do believe it's always possible to disagree about things and to do it professionally. I consider disagreeing professionally a hallmark of the way I try to interact, for instance, when I'm advocating for our district with the state. But I also think that some disagreement is inevitable when we make more tactical decisions. And some of those decisions will be taken in committee, and some of them will be taken between the administration and our bargaining units. As a board, we get consulted on those things, but I think it's really important that we understand no one is going to agree on 100% of everything all the time. Disagreeing politely buys mutual respect, and it lays the foundation for progress. Recently, though, I do think that in this massive stressor that is the pandemic, we have seen more issues with people disagreeing by attack. I was in a public meeting where a person blamed another person by name for something they weren't responsible for. And, we've also seen where people have disavowed being consulted at all when the fact is they were consulted, but they weren't in 100% agreement. And they've done that publicly. In turn, I become so frustrated that last week I didn't return a call to someone from a bargaining unit that called me because I was frustrated with that behavior. So I just want to say, I don't think this is where we want to be as a district. It's not where I want to be as a board member. So I'm going to commit to returning that call. I'm going to vote yes on these items that we need to help move our staff forward. But I would also ask of all of our leaders around the district, wherever you're from, what side of the table, let's move forward and agree to disagree with one another respectfully without breaking trust or making accusations towards anybody. I think that's an important foundation of how we operate. And before I voted on all of these items, I thought that was important to say out loud and for the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eichenberg. Any other discussion?
I would just, again, just for folks to understand, we do a lot of this work in committee, and we all have 3 to 4 committees each month. And when the consent agenda is in front of us, sometimes it's like, well, what are all those things? I just want to point out one thing I'm particularly proud of is the new courses that we've added from curriculum committee. And so I just want of our curriculum division and our teachers who continue to bring for our students to add to those course description guides and give students even more opportunities to earn their equation. So we bring additional courses from time to time, but this month I think we have 3. So I just thought that was pretty cool, and I wanted to give a shout out for those things that you'll be supporting with your vote on the consent agenda today.
Thank you, Ms. Gerken. Anyone else in discussion? All right, hearing none. Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Barwig?
Yes.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yes.
Mrs. Gerken?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move to section 7 of the agenda, which consists of reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings, and are here really for information and reference. No action is required. So we can proceed to section 8. And I do not believe there's any discussion items for this evening. Section 9 is early childhood education action items. I do not believe there are any this month, but the members are Chair Polly Taylor Gerken, Co-Chair Sheena Barnes. Section 10 of the agenda consists of the early childhood education reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings and are provided for your information and reference. There's no action required, so we can proceed to section 11. Ms. Gerken, are there any early childhood walk-ins this evening?
I do not believe there are. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to section 12 then. Section 12 is executive session. I would like to entertain a motion to enter into executive session for the following: to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, and preparing for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Barwig,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin.
Yes.
Thank you. For those of you on the call, this is the time that the board is going to enter into executive session. So we'll be leaving this meeting, and then upon our return, we'll join back. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Steckschulte?
Yes.
Okay, and Dr. Durant?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, wonderful. I just want to make sure we're all here. Okay. Okay, so we're going to reconvene from executive session. I'd like to request a motion to reconvene.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Barwig,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move to section 13, which are walk-ins, and we do have two. So first, we're going to start it with the first resolution is regarding Mr. Steckschulte, and this is a resolution stating vote of confidence in treasurer. Whereas the Board of Education of the Toledo City School District has conducted the annual evaluation of Treasurer Ryan Steckschulte, whereas the board finds that Mr. Steckschulte has performed his duties and responsibilities with excellence and has fulfilled established goals, whereas the board wishes to extend a vote of confidence and support of Mr. Steckschulte as to his work in furthering the mission of Toledo Public Schools and his consummate professionalism and dedication to TPS. And whereas the board has determined that Mr. Steckschulte has met established criteria to be eligible for the merit increase set forth in his contract under section 4B11. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Toledo City School District that after careful consideration and evaluation of the information before it, Section 1, the Board of Education of the Toledo City School District does hereby extend a vote of confidence in support of Mr. Steckschulte as to his work in furthering the mission of Toledo Public Schools and his consummate professionalism and dedication to TPS. And Section 2, the Board of Education does hereby determine that Mr. Steckschulte has met established criteria to be eligible for the merit increase set forth in his contract under Section 4B11. And Section 3, the resolution shall be in full force and effect from and immediately after its adoption and shall supersede any prior resolution or act of this board which may be inconsistent or duplicative with the provisions of this resolution. And Section 4, it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this board concerning and relating to the passage of this resolution were taken in an open meeting of this board, and that all deliberations of this board and any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Ms. Eichenberg.
I just want to take a moment to say thank you to Mr. Steckschulte. You know, it's amazing actually the size of the budget that you deal with in a large public school system. And, you know, it takes a dedicated staff, it takes a good leader to make that happen and happen appropriately. And then to be getting awards from the auditor for the quality of the work that we're doing, to be recognized, you know, nationally, to serve on national committees, you know, those are all so very impressive. And while I did rotate off the finance committee, it will always be in my heart. And I appreciate the fine leadership that you have provided there, Mr. Steckschulte. And also my cat approved tonight too. He was here to give his thanks. So.
Thank you, Ms. Eichenberg. Anyone else? Mr. Vasquez.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Mr. Steckschulte as well. It is a large budget, and I just want to really thank him for the professionalism that he brings to the finance committee, to the 5-year forecast, to the bond issues, to the levy analysis, and all the things that he does. it's so professional, and he makes it easy to understand. I just really want to thank you, Mr. Steckschulte. You do a great job.
I also want to echo what my colleagues, board members said as well. I won't say your last name because I'm still working on it. So give me time. Year 3, I'll knock it out. Trust me. But I just realized the great work you do is really how we can actually give our kids high quality education. So I appreciate, all the cents of dollars that you put together to accomplish that as a mother and as a school board member. So thank you.
So, Mr. Steckschulte, you were like our first, right? So for myself, the first big hire school board, I just feel like, we definitely made the right call back in that year. And, everything that you do is, it's just obvious that, that you're a rock star in your field. And I think one of the things that impresses me, just as it does with my colleagues when they're going out at the state level and just really making a name for our district at the state level when they're lobbying and working on solutions, your presence in your guild, in your profession at the state and now even national level, brings a lot at the district. And you reached out and decided to join us. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, Mr. Steckschulte, I certainly do appreciate your efforts. I appreciate the fact that you are willing to sit down and explain even the most maybe mundane, details, and explain it in a way that those that are not financial gurus or in that field can understand. And it is very much appreciated that you take the time to do that. So I applaud your efforts. I certainly also agree with Ms. Gerken. I believe you're a rock star in the treasury, of school districts. So thank you. And we look forward to many more years, right? Okay, with that, could we call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barwig,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Mrs. Gerken.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we have one more resolution then. Okay, resolution stating vote of confidence in superintendent, authorizing increase and authorizing addendum to contract. Whereas the Board of Education of the Toledo City School District has conducted the annual evaluation of Superintendent Dr. Romulus Durant. Whereas the board finds that Dr. Durant has performed his duties and responsibilities with excellence and has fulfilled established goals. Whereas the board wishes to extend a vote of confidence in support of Dr. Durant as to his work in furthering the mission of Toledo Public Schools and his unparalleled dedication to the students of TPS. Whereas the Board of Education of the Toledo City School District entered into the contract with Romulus Durant, the superintendent, to serve as superintendent on December 17th, 2019. Whereas the board and the superintendent desired to revise a section of the contract pertaining to the superintendent's contract term. Whereas Exhibit 1, which is attached to this resolution, reflects the board's and the superintendent's desired revision to the contract. And whereas the board has determined that Dr. Durant has met established criteria to be eligible for the merit increase set forth in the contract under Section 4B10, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Toledo City School District that after careful consideration and evaluation of the information before it, Section 1, the Board of Education of the Toledo City School District does hereby extend a vote of confidence in support of Dr. Durant as to his work in furthering the mission of Toledo Public Schools and his unparalleled dedication to the students of TPS. And Section 2, the board does hereby determine that Dr. Durant has met established criteria to be eligible for the merit increase set forth in his contract under Section 4B10. And Section 3, the board does hereby authorize that Dr. Durant's contract be revised and addended as attached hereto, and that such addendum to the contract remain in full force through the life of the contract. And Section 4, this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and immediately after its adoption and shall supersede any prior resolution or act of this board, which may be inconsistent or duplicative with the provisions of this resolution. And Section 5, it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this board concerning and relating to the passage of this resolution were taken in an open meeting of this board, and that all deliberations of this board and any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Ms.
Yeah, I have a quick story.
Okay, Ms. Barnes. Okay.
I have a quick story. So the first time I actually knew of Dr. Durant, we were at my daughter's test drive fundraiser for her band at Bowser. And it was supposed to be a 2-hour event. It went to 3 because people were test driving probably to Michigan. And literally he stayed the whole entire time. And with that money, we did a lot of awesome things for the Bowser band that year. And so I knew then this guy's either crazy or very passionate. And so I really, really appreciate all the good work that you do. And I'm looking forward to working beside you.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Dr. Durant for everything and for him being always working and always on the job and always being the professional and being passionate. And I just, Dr. Durant, I just can't say enough about what you do for our district, and looking forward to continuing to work with you and on everything that we do. Thank you very much.
Ms. Eichenberg.
I just, I wanted to note to Dr. Durant, it is a big district. We have a lot of challenges, but one of the things that I noticed, even when I was initially on the campaign trail, my very first time out, the students know that you care about them. And I think actually that's the most important thing that our school system needs from a superintendent. Our students know you care, and that's amazing. I do kind of remember who the superintendent was when I was in school, but not very much. And so I don't think our students have that experience, and I'm glad for that. The other piece I just wanted to mention, because I was, bragging on Mr. Schulte as well, is, to be the AFSCME recognized leader, selected from so many of your peers around the state. We love to see that too. We know that you bring value to the district. We love to see that others know it. So thank you very much for your service.
Ms. Gerken.
I would just vote of confidence. It has a lot packed in it to tell you how well we feel about your just. And you'll notice that there's also that little part where we roped you in for a few more years. So that's also part of what we're about to vote on. So make sure you're down with that.
Okay. And Dr. Durant, I feel like I've known you forever. We have started out back when I was a parent in the district. And so I have seen your progression, and you're such a role model for our students. I love, love, love that about you. And all of the staff, they are definitely, they look to you for guidance. We have, like Ms. Eichenberg said, so many challenges in our district, but you always rise to the occasion and, put a positive light on it. And I applaud that, because it's not easy to do when there's so many, things coming at you. So thank you for what you do each and every day. We certainly applaud your efforts, and you are, as Mr. Schulte, a rock star in a school district. So thank you. All right. And could I have Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Barwick,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Mrs. Gerken,
Yes.
Okay.
I wasn't muted that time. That was just somebody breaking up. I'm
Okay. And I will say before we proceed on, Ms. Barnes, I think what you can do with Mr. Sexualty's name is probably sign it from now on. Right? Okay.
Thinking,
We're
Madam
going to
Clerk.
move on to section 14 through 16. And Dr. Durant, your comments.
Yeah, one, want to say how happy and proud I am of our Eastsiders over at Wade High School. The ALS program has been there for many years, even when I was in high school, and just to see a tradition carry on and be part of the board meetings, I think was a nice part of the board meeting to bring them in. So look forward to that part. Also, again, want to congratulate and say happy to our board members. Again, happy board member month. And like I can tell you from our cabinet that we truly appreciate your support. I could tell you in the presentation that you saw today was the support that you provided. So if you recall in 2013, that foundation went defunct and we had to come up with a plan, and the board supported the initiative to invest money. And now today you saw the return on this investment. And it's about college and career readiness and so forth. So again, kudos to you and your ever-ending support. And today was a reflection of that just with the foundation itself. So again, thank you, and TPS proud.
Thank you. And Mr. Schulte.
I just want to thank you for the vote of confidence. The team that we got here with Dr. Durant and Mr. Gann, Mr. Galt, and others is really coming together, all marching in the same direction. So I think that really helps. The support that we have from the board and knowing that we're all working for the same mission, it really helps move us forward. And I know we disagree sometimes, but we have to do that. It is Board Appreciation Month. You should pat yourself on the back, as it's not easy being a board member at all times, but it is rewarding in the end.
It's better than poo on a shoe.
And then I got two quick updates that I sent emails on, but I want to make sure you get them. The governor signed an executive order last Friday that reduced the amount of the reduction that he initially had imposed on all school districts. So originally we were getting our state funding cut by $3.6 million. Now it's only going, well, he's reducing that by $1.9 million. So we'll get an additional $1.9 million in state aid this year that we weren't anticipating. To be honest with you, I was shocked. And then the other one is the ESSER 2 or CARES Act. The second edition of it is working its way through. We're hearing we should be able to access the money in probably late February, I'm guessing early March, and that's to the tune of $55 million. And that's to help with the expenses of the pandemic and so forth. So I just want to make sure you were aware of those.
Thank you very much. Both very important. All right. Board members, any additional comments before we close out the meeting? Mr. Vasquez.
Dr. Durant just reminded me of one thing, and that is about the foundation. And he brought that up, and I wanted to thank you, Mrs. Farwig, because you worked so hard on that. And that was one of the things you wanted to get done. So just wanted to thank you for that. He had brought that up. Also, he had brought up the weight students. And I just want to say that both Dr. Durant and myself are weight graduates. So it was a good thing to see, and really appreciate that.
Anyone else?
Well, this whole evening board meeting was amazing. It made my heart smile, but everyone knows I'm a big champion at ASL. And so just seeing that really lit my face up. So now I have to do one-on-ones with everybody to make sure we know how to say TPS proud. There you go.
Look at Dr. Durant already.
Working it. I just wanted to say thanks for having students present again. I missed that. So I think that was really nice. And I know it takes a little time, but that's how we remember why we do this. We don't obviously do it for the compensation.
Although 3 special board meetings in 1 month, girl, we might be racking it in.
Well, we'll see. We had a lot of work to do.
We did have a lot of work to do. I mean, we were on those calls till we were all getting a little hangry.
Yes.
All of you this month, it's been a work-filled month, and we will just get some of you as soon as, next week, I'm sure. So January, turn the page.
That's right. Well, I just want to take the time to thank all of my board members, because I will tell you, it's so rewarding doing this work with colleagues that have the same passion about bringing student opportunities in public education and valuing public education. We often know that what we're up against at the state level and most recently the federal level, but you know what? It's such a joy to have board members that are in sync, and we all have our strengths that we bring to the forefront. So I applaud your efforts. Thank you for, being my colleague. I appreciate it. And with that, it's time for adjournment. So can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, please treasurer call the roll.
Mrs. Barwig,
Yes.
Miss Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.